One Piece TCG had their first national championships this past weekend at the Bandai Card Fest in Los Angeles, and it was an unmitigated disaster. On all fronts, as a tournament, this was a failure of epic proportions. The event wasn't all that bad in comparison to what was going on, but let me tell you, as a competitive Pokemon TCG player who has been playing card games at the highest level since 2011, why this was a train wreck of all disasters, what can be fixed for the future if Bandai ever watches this video, my experience as a player, and what can be changed from here on out. Hey guys, my name is Rahul Reddy. I've been playing competitive card games since 2011, on and off here a little bit, not too hot, like not a bunch in the early stages of my 2011 to 2015 career, but after I jumped into college, I was playing tournaments pretty much every weekend, and that's what I do now as well. Like I have a full daytime job, but I do travel effectively like 30 weekends out of the 52 of the year, traveling to play competitive trading card games like Pokemon, and One Piece has become a little bit of a side hobby for me. I've been a avid manga and anime watcher since I was like 8 years old. Starting off with the big three, like many others: Naruto, Bleach, and One Piece. I've stuck with it this long, so when I heard that One Piece was making a trading card game, I definitely wanted to be one of the first people to jump into it. So when cards first came out, I jumped in alongside many of my other, friends, locals, whatever. And I noticed as set two, set three started coming out, demand began to increase for this card game, and I think it's an incredibly healthy thing. And so everyone thinks Bandai's going to send out supply to meet demand. That has not been the case. We're about to hit set number 6 very shortly here in March, and supply has yet to meet demand, or even close to meet demand, with booster boxes being incredibly above MSRP, playable decks reaching a minimum of 400 to $500, and no signs of slowing down. But that's like, those problems are aside. Let's just jump right into the part of the tournament. So the One Piece Nationals is basically just the end all be all for the tournament, or anyone else can compete, because the World Championships is only a 16-man affair that's going to be held in Tokyo, Japan this year. 16 of the best players in the world. Keep it small, keep it simple. Let's have a show match basically for Worlds. So Nationals is your last chance to really compete, show off what you got throughout the year, etc., etc. So all year round, they touted that earning an invite to the national championships would require you to place top 16 or better at a regional championship, or if there was 1,000 players or more, top 32, I believe, and then invites would pass down. They already guaranteed that. Early on in the season, they had stated that store championships, winning those, would give you an invite, but that was never formally confirmed. It was just assumed from other Bandai games like Digimon from the past, and that actually didn't hold true. Moving into this one, store championships are like your league cups, effectively, for Pokemon. 32 to 40 people. You show up, you play until there's one winner. It's just Swiss, no top cut. Winner gets the fun promos and then an invite to nationals. Congratulations, you're moving on. One Piece had these as well. Demand for that was pretty ridiculous across the board, but they decided arbitrarily not to make that announcement for this season. So both Digimon and One Piece did not have store champs as a nationals qualifier. It was only through regionals. So this meant that you had to kick it into high gear basically as we're getting towards regional season, later in the season, all that good stuff. I was fortunate enough to actually I've placed top 32 at 3 regionals in my One Piece career, which is actually pretty funny because I felt like those runs were not great, but top 32 is like nothing to scoff at. And 2 of them, I think I wasn't even close to being like eligible for the pass down on invites. But in Columbus, I did top 8, which meant that I had earned my invite by top 16ing. And so at this point in time in Columbus, which was in June, we were still under the invite only assumption. Come, I believe, October, or no, it was like mid to late September when I booked this ticket to go to Los Angeles for the One Piece finals. They announced the date. They announced that this would be on this past weekend, last weekend of January in 2024. I booked my ticket with a couple of locals, and at this point, some of these guys were just hopefuls that they would get it. If not, they were going to go play some side events, yada yada. Fast forward about 3 weeks, maybe it's like middle of October, so now we're like about 3 months out from when nationals is. They make the arbitrary announcement to make it open to the general public. Those who have already earned an invitation would get 2 buys to the national championships, but now it is an open invite structure. Cool. Is there any way to check your invites? No, there wasn't. It's just like a spreadsheet. It was just an Excel document on the official Bandai website that's being updated once every like 4 months. Whatever. Reg is a disaster. Bandai app sucks for that, but whatever. We move on. Tournament is massive. We get to the tournament, right? It's now game time. We're locked in. You get there, get to the venue. Deck lists are due Thursday for some odd reason, but you can resubmit it all the way through Friday midnight. So there's really no reason to like do anything besides just throw in some dummy list on Thursday and then fix it on Friday to whatever you want it to be. Whatever, right? Like everyone's locking that in. Get to Los Angeles. Check-in process on Friday is a little bit of a nightmare. We went there around 2 o'clock in the line, a little bit early. I think by 3 or 4 the line had completely dissipated, so you could just walk through, grab your promos, call it a day. That's on me. We went early. We went a little bit early. I was Pokemon brained. Usually about 2 hours or an hour and a half into like any reg line for Pokemon, it dissipates pretty quickly. But I guess the Bandai players, that happened quite later in the day. Tournament kicks off Bandai Fest Saturday morning. Bandai Fest is being touted as this great multi-game fair, an experience, a convention, if you will. You've got Digimon, you've got Battle Spirits, you've got Anime Plus there showing off their new Union Arena game, which I'm very personally excited about. I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to collect it because I'm, again, a huge anime and manga enthusiast. By that, I mean I literally like read everything or watch everything. So I'm very excited for that game for collectible purposes. And then all of a sudden, tournament, they're like, be there at 9 o'clock for player meeting, 9:30 round one's going to kick off. Obviously, everyone assumes some technical difficulties would persist during this process. We get there, bright and early. It's West Coast, so I'm on a East Coast buff in the morning. I'm feeling good. I got a 2-round bye. I'm checked in. A couple of people aren't checked in. Whatever, it's weird. We're just assuming they're going down the list on the app. 9 o'clock hits. The player meeting happens. It's like 9:15 now. We're sitting around. There's like lines of people in trying to get some stuff fixed. We're trying to figure out what it is. Whatever. It's just maybe people not registered in the tournament, people who signed up, whatever, showing their thing. 10:15-ish now, so about a full hour later, a friend of mine runs up to me and goes, Rahul, you have 2 buys, right? You're checked in, right? I'm like, yeah. He's like, get in line. I'm like, okay. So I go get in line. There's a line of like maybe 100 people, all with 2 buys, who were registered into the tournament as no buys. So I would have been paired in round 1, which, again, first off, in hindsight, had I known what I known that happened in the tournament, I would have taken this in a heartbeat. But because of what happened, I was like, okay, this is ridiculous. So I go through this line, get it fixed. They tell us to stick around in case anything else happens. It's now almost 11. 11 o'clock, tournament is now deleted. The tournament has now been deleted completely from the system. And they're asking people not to touch anything in their apps. The BCP, Best Coast Pairings app, probably one of the worst apps I've ever used in my life for anything. There is a incredible commodity called RK9 Labs that already services Bandai apps and games. Please just use them for big national level events. RK9 is used to handling multi-thousand person events for games like Pokemon that run BO3 Swiss, that run these multi-day tournaments. Like, you have a team of people who is equipped, a program that is equipped to deal with this, unlike BCP, which is one of the most flawed apps out there. Right? Whatever. Pack it up. 11 o'clock, they tell us not to go anywhere. It's still loitering time. I think about noon is when the first round kicks off. And there's already issues. I think there's no repair or anything in the first round, but there's people who have buys that shouldn't have buys. People with buys that should still be out of the tournament. And then I think they gave their opponents, from what I heard, this is by hearsay, this is not actually confirming anything that I heard, at least someone told this to me, is that they had 2 buys and they told their opponent that they earned a round 1 win for this, and then they removed the player from the tournament who had the buys and put him back in 2 rounds later. So a little bit of a, okay, cool, some people got some free buys, but let's just consider that like a no-show, like we got a no-show at the table. Then we move to round 2. Round 2 kicks off at like 1, I want to say. So now we're like, okay, it's almost, 2 o'clock probably. I assume we're going to kick off as round 3 players. We should get back into the venue. Also, everything for Bandai Card Fest, not on Bandai for this one. I feel like there's just like an incredible demand for all this things that were going on, scavenger hunt, whatever, Union Arena demos. There's a lot of cool stuff to be done. There's like not a ton of cool stuff. So there's like 4 big booths that were really cool experiences to watch through. But those 4 big booths were like the only 4 big booths, and there was like multiple thousands of people there as like spectators and competitors and stuff like that. So lines were definitely chaotic, kind of insane on Saturday. You could wait in line for like probably 2 hours to get absolutely nothing, than like a stamp and maybe like a pack of like 10 Nami sleeves. And I was like, what is everyone doing today? Like, why are we playing Line Simulator? So, and then after round 2 ends, another competitor comes up. This is also not like put anywhere on a Bandai app, not on Best Coast apps. It's not being announced anywhere. The judges just are telling players that, round 3 starting at 2:30. We're taking an hour break to make sure all the buy players get put into the system. Cool. I like that. Whatever, take the break, make sure there's no issues, no bugs, whatever. Round 3 kicks off. Pairings go up. Everyone gets their tables. 245, let's say. I am very suspiciously at like table like 900. Kind of weird. Go to my table. I talk to my opponent. He's being a little weird. He's like, oh my god, I'm hitting a boss monster, yada yada. And I'm just like, yeah, but you're also 2-0. Like, like it's, does it show in the app that I have 2 buys or something? And he goes, no, but I saw you in the line trying to fix your buys. And I was like, oh, cool. Yeah, that makes sense. Like that definitely I was wearing like a Japan jersey. I'm a little bit taller. I stick out. I'm a little bit more recognizable. But like, what do you keep saying boss mouse energy? And he's like, oh, I'm actually 1-1. And I was like, you're 1-1? Like, what happened? He's like, yeah, like I was a no-show. Like I was late round 1 and then I won round 2. And I was like, okay, so did I get down paired? And he's like, I think this is fine. And then I asked the tables next to me. They're also 1-1. And I'm like, what is going on? Like, why am I in a pool of 1-1s? And then I messaged the group chat to see how some of the other guys who had buys are doing. Same thing. Some guys paired into an 0-2. Some guys paired into something, whatever. So they repair everybody. But this repair something is functionally wrong. A lot of the buys, or a majority of the players who had buys, hit another player with a buy. So Best Coast pairings usually pairs people with the best resistance against each other, and coming in with the first 2 rounds, that's also fundamentally wrong. By the way, I feel like you should just completely randomize a tournament like this when it comes to these stages. Best Coast is known to pair, like this is a known fault of Best Coast, that it pairs players with better resistance against each other. Therefore, if you have a bad resistance, you will stay at the bottom of your tiebreaker like the entire day, which actually sucks. Like, you are literally just griefing your entire tournament because you had 1 bad opponent or 2 bad opponents throughout the day, which is just like such a demoralizing feeling. So, and your table number also represents your resistance. Like, if you are at table 1, you have better resistance. If you're at table like 400 at the same record as some of the tables like 6, pack it up, buddy. So, tournament then goes into round 3. We play our first round, whatever. Things go without a hitch. Next round goes up. It's now like 5:30, almost 6, when round 4 concludes. Round 5 goes up. It's another repair. Round 6 is now underway. It's almost 8 o'clock. We are, I'm talking to staff. I'm asking questions. I'm being very rudely told multiple times that there's going to be 11 rounds of Swiss. Like, I don't know who's lying to you. There's going to be 11 rounds. I'm like, I'm just asking. Like, I just want to know. It's listed 0 places that there's 11 rounds of Swiss, or that there's a top 64 cut. We just have to assume from last week that in Europe, where they had the nationals, not a single place had posted this, which is really absurd. Not a single announcement was made, and not a single apology was given to players from Bandai staff, which is the thing that appalled me the most. Like, not a single sorry about the delays, sorry about anything going on, like, sorry about the inconveniences, sorry we deleted your tournament in round 2. Yeah, just a lot of, like, really rude stuff. I don't know, like, I guess they're getting yelled at all day, which isn't a great feeling for them either, but, like, you've got, like, 2,000 people with 0 information, or, like, misleading information. Like, you are running a national level event. Just pump a notification out through the Bandai app. Pump a notification out through the BCP app with these announcements you're making. Like, you guys aren't even making announcements. Whatever, I digress. We then get to round 7. Everyone's sitting down. It's like 8:15. 8:20 almost, I think, at this point. And they make a announcement basically being like, hey, I don't know what you guys have been hearing. We are finishing all 11 rounds of Swiss today. And everyone's like, what? And they're like, we are staying in this venue as long as it takes to finish all 11 rounds. And so now players are just like actually getting up and leaving because they're like, I'm not staying for like another 4 hours. Like, I'm not staying here till like 1 in the morning. I don't want to be here till that long. Round 7 finishes, round 8 finishes. We're kind of zooming at this point. Pretty quick turnaround times. Which I guess makes sense with a lot of people dropping and leaving. A little bit of problem child's going. Some issues should be fixed. Round 9, repair. Like a pretty massive repair. Once again. Pretty ridiculous. Round 9 ends. Round 10 goes up at like 10:30 p.m. Sit down, set up, repair. But only a few people are affected. So they say, hey, open your Bandai app or the website. We sit there for like 5 minutes. Sorry, like pairings go over like 11 maybe. Or 10, 15 maybe. But like we sit there for like 10 minutes. The page isn't working because everybody's now loading it. And this site sucks. It can't handle the traffic of like more than 6 people. Then they say go to the app. Same thing. App is crashing. So now the judges are walking table to table to confirm who's playing there, and then moving people, like shuffling people around, like, you go here, you go here. And I'm like, dude, what? Like, what is going on? Like, what is this? This is ridiculous. Round kicks off, round ends. Everyone's sitting around. 11:15. Pairings haven't gone up. We're like, come on, we're 10 rounds deep. Just give us the last round. We'll just go get it done, go home. A lot of players are now like banking on their tiebreakers. Based on stuff, it's like if you went X4 at 11 rounds, you're virtually guaranteed 5-12 prizing, which is a significant prize jump. So everyone is like, they were staying until the certain round because we were now told multiple times across the tournament that 11 rounds would happen. 11 rounds are going to happen. 11 rounds are going to happen. This has been beat into us throughout the day. We are exhausted. We are hungry. People are like, I don't know, like if this was East Coast still, I'd probably be completely fine. But I'm at the point where like I can't even make small talk with my opponents because my brain isn't working. I've barely eaten all day because I haven't left the venue. Effectively, it's 2 a.m. back home for me, later than 2 a.m. And I got up at like 7 a.m. West Coast time. Like it's been a day, man. Like it's been a day. And I'm only playing it out because I'm 6'4", and if I win one more, I'm guaranteed 5-12 prizing. Announcement comes. They go, 10 rounds of Swiss have concluded, everybody. We're done. We just decided to cut the 11th round. And at the moment, everyone was really happy because they're like, okay, we get to go home. But then the tiebreaker bubble realization kicks in. 8-2 was the record to make top 64. Top 64 cut, meaning you could go on and potentially try to win the entire tournament. The 8-2s began at 53rd, I believe. No, like 37th, sorry. 37th maybe. The 52s went from, or 8-2s went from 37th to 148th. Imagine thinking you're going to top cut. This number also dwindles significantly with one more round. With one more round. Imagine thinking you're going to top cut, and then you go from X2 and finding out you didn't even get top 128 pricing. The 5-12 bubble started somewhere, like the X4, so like 6-4, started somewhere in 256, or 5-12, so like, I think it was like 360th or something, all the way down to like 800th was X-Force. I ended up at like 700 something, so not a good run for your boy. I was defeated. Like the best word to use is like as I'm walking back to the hotel, like I just felt so defeated. I was like, I played this whole day, lied to, was rude to by judges, staff specifically. I was getting beaten down all day by the elements in the venue. Just a rough tournament, a rough experience, and an inexcusable tournament by Bandai. Like an absolutely inexcusable Swiss tournament by Bandai. Top cut, from what I understand, the next day, top 64 onwards, ran without a hitch, because at that point there was only a few rounds left to be played. And I think at that point you just really can't fuck it up. Like it's really difficult to mess it up from that point onwards. So props to them. Also, by the way, whole time one game was being recorded every single round, but there was no stream match until the finals. At a production level of something this big, it's a national level event, by the way. It is inexcusable not to have a stream. We are in 2024. This is not 2010 grassroots. You need to have a stream for your flagship game that is raking in so much money, so much demand. People are fiending for it on social media. And then if players are trying to stream it or walk up with a camera, telling them to turn it off and leave, also not okay, I guess. Like no content, nothing is being done. Whatever. And then during day 2, if you guys want to, end the video here and take the takeaway and get out of here. Bandai events suck. Just be prepared for the worst. That being said, One Piece, very fun game. It's expensive, but if you want to play at like your local level and like play regionals and stuff like that, yeah, whatever. Seems fun. I'm going to keep playing a little bit. I might not go to travel regionals and stuff. In particular, I'll do online stuff from my own house, but Nationals was an unmitigated disaster, train wreck, absolute shit show. I haven't felt that defeated in a long time after a tournament. But it might have been the kick in the pants I need to like get the rest of my Pokemon season going. Who knows? But that's why an OP Nats was a disaster. If you're wondering why. Also, like 3 bathrooms that all just smelled like complete awful by like round 2. Lines. So that's the meme. Day 2 was good though. Day 2 you come back. Top Cut's going. The side event line was a disaster. If you wanted to sign up for side events, you had to basically get in there quick, and the line was already like looped around the building by like 9 o'clock when doors opened at 8:30, and by like I think my friends were some of the first people in line, not some of the first, but like maybe like in line within the first 20 minutes, and they got to the front of the line at like noon. And all that was left was like 64-man pods and 32 4-man pods. Like you couldn't sign up for any 3v3s, whatever. So side events were also a disaster. A lot of people signed up on day 1 for side events that didn't show, which really pissed them off. So they changed the system from QR code signups. Demo stuff was cool. They actually like adjusted demand or to meet demand for a lot of stuff. And then as they were running out of stuff for scavenger hunt, etc., they were posting signs and getting things going. Scavenger hunt was a really cool idea. I like that quite a bit. A lot of free stuff being given out. I have a couple demo decks. One from Union Arena to try out. One from Dragon Ball Z, the new game, all that stuff. Like, I enjoy trying these new games. I'm a card gamer no matter what the game is, so I want to try these stuff out just to see if the mechanics are good, to see if it's something that'll pique my interests. So I had a lot of fun doing that. The people teaching demos were absolutely fantastic. You guys were awesome. The people doing scavenger hunt stuff, absolutely phenomenal. Seeing the big panels and booths of like all the One Piece cards being displayed, all the Dragon Ball cards being displayed, all the Digimon cards being displayed. Really cool to see. Like, as someone who just admires the game and admires art, this art in general, really enjoyed all that. So that was a cool experience on day 2. Made it a lot more fun for me, waking up, getting in there, and like actually doing something with my day rather than feeling like it felt wasted. And I spent like the whole day in the venue. Finals opening ceremony was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I've been watching the One Piece anime and reading the manga since I was literally 8 years old. That's 20 years ago if you guys are counting, 2004. So listening to the original singers come in and jam the We Are opening, and the ending, the first ending is like, it just hits so differently. I can't explain it in words. Like, it was one of the most magical experiences to watch that. It's like going to your first Disney on Ice, or like, I don't know, seeing like Lion King live. But all that being said, Bandai Card Fest. Bandai Card Fest was cool. Had a lot of fun. Would have enjoyed it more as just a con. But as a player playing the tournament, unmitigated disaster. Do better, Bandai. Like, you are running premier events, have some amazing titles. Do not run your games into the ground, please. Like, do not continue this pattern that you guys keep doing with your games. Like, I want to make this game better. I want to be here for it. In fact, I have a kick in the butt to actually start making One Piece content too, because I feel like the content out there is not as great as it could be for this amazing game. So if you have ideas for One Piece content in the comments below, let me know, because I'm going to start pumping out some One Piece content on the second channel down in the link. It's in the description below, so check that out. Sorry for ranting. I like ranting. This is my channel. You guys can choose to listen to it or not. But this is a whole rant for you guys, so peace out. Have a good day. Adios.